Hello, I'm Josh.
And I'm Cameron. This time we're talking about the 2011 film Tom and Jerry and the Wizard of Oz, based on the 1939 film of the same name.
Yeah, so we did one of these a few months ago because we went back and watched Blade Runner 2049. We're calling it New Pod Plus because just like when you start a new run in a video game, it's not really like that at all, but
We'll consider it like extra stuff that you do afterwards. Like some video games have like extra content in like New Game Plus.
Yeah, so stuff that we've already read and covered the main, most famous version of, but are going back to. So we did an episode on the Wizard of Oz and its most famous movie.
And now we're doing the second most famous movie of the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, exactly. And actually this is, what would you call it? Like the second derivative of the Wizard of Oz because it is an adaptation of the movie, not the book almost at all. Except for the fact that the movie it's adapting is based on the book. It's like the only leftover DNA. Does that make sense?
Well, I do think there's one moment I think they open like the Winky Handbook or whatever, and I think that's like the name of the guards in the book, and there's no way
they don't mention it in the movie, but they do exist.
Yeah.
So they might have had a name in the credits or something. We've already been through our experience with the Wizard of Oz before, so we don't have to go back over things.
Tom and Jerry.
I guess, yeah, Tom and Jerry. Where do you stand on them?
I love Tom and Jerry.
You do?
I love all their... Okay, so I should say...
I love all their antics. And
I do. Although sometimes I feel like... And I know that like you're just not supposed to feel bad for Tom because he's like the aggressor in like most situations.
Yes.
Sometimes I feel bad for Tom.
Well, I think that Jerry is like super smart or whatever. So I think you are supposed to sometimes feel bad for him having like a Sisyphean task and being constantly injured.
I certainly felt very sorry for him sometimes in this film.
Yeah. I like Tom and Jerry. I liked it as a kid when it was on like Cartoon Network. I think of the like big famous old cartoons is like, I'm trying to think of how many of those I know. And it's like maybe number 3 because I think I like Looney Tunes the best. And then maybe like Mickey Mouse shorts second. And then Tom and Jerry third.
It's usually Tom and Jerry for me high up there. I only ever really watched like Baby Looney Tunes, like that version of Looney Tunes.
I think Looney Tunes just has a bigger cast of characters, so there's more variety in things they do, other than run around a house and hurt each other.
That's true. But again, as we established in the Star Wars episode, I was kind of a dumb child, so I didn't have the complexity to handle like multiple characters, and until they had Lola Bunny, like what's the point of the Looney Tunes in the first place?
So true. Yeah, my number 1 is Jessica Rabbit on her own, and then the Looney Tunes.
She's just drawn that way. I mean, I can distinctly recall watching Tom and Jerry and the Magic Ring, which is not one we watch, but all the time.
Is that kind of like Sonic and is it 7 Rings?
No, he's like in the same household as like a wizard or whatever, and he has a magic ring, and he's like making a potion, but he needs to go stop out and get some, I think, real milk from Calcutta, and he says, so he kind of leaves his ring around, so he goes and fetches it, and it gets stuck on Jerry's head, and it causes all kind of issues, because it's like a magic ring.
Okay.
It's great.
I'm not familiar.
It's so good.
For those in the audience not familiar with this movie, which is unfathomable, this is the Wizard of Oz movie animated to look more like it's computer animated, but it's 2D like Tom and Jerry. And Tom and Jerry are now in it as well.
Yes.
And
that's basically the movie.
Yeah, you know exactly what you're going to watch based on that, I think, and whether you would like it more or less. I mean, this would not like rocket to the top of my like Tom and Jerry. I don't have a Tom and Jerry ranking or even really remember distinct episodes.
It's nowhere anywhere close to. I distinctly remember the episode of Tom and Jerry whenever he cares for like the little younger mouse or whatever.
Yeah,
and I like that one a lot. He's wearing a diaper.
But one thing I think we both noticed this because this was like the one thing we said out loud before we were like, no, we got to save it for the podcast. Is that I didn't expect all the other characters to know Tom and Jerry were there, but they do.
Yeah, so like. When you pitch this to me, having not seen it, my first thought would be like, okay, it's like the Wizard of... It's mostly a Tom and Jerry thing, but like... And you're kind of following them around, but like their story is happening in the background, and they're like maybe causing things to happen, kind of like what happens at the end of the film, that like directly kind of help the plot of the movie go along, and not like...
Well, have you seen Wicked for Good and or the second act of Wicked?
No.
Okay. Have you seen Wicked Part 1?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, this will be harder to explain.
I know the general concept. I know.
The first act of Wicked is all prequel.
Uh-huh.
But the second act / Wicked for Good takes place at the same time as the movie Wizard of Oz.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of awkward because it's like a character like turns into the Tin Man 30 seconds before Dorothy's going to meet the Tin Man. So it's like on a treadmill, like you can almost feel the movie like anxious, like we gotta make the Tin Man before Dorothy gets there, you know? Like
they're building the railroad track as the train is going down the station.
Exactly. But Dorothy never sees all these like behind this, like she sees Elphaba, aka the Wicked Witch, obviously, but she never sees all these other behind the scenes machinations. And that's kind of how I expected this to go. They're secretly influencing the plot of Wizard of Oz, but that's not how it went.
That's not how it went. And then when they first got to Oz and they meet the Munchkin mouse, Tuffy or whatever, I was like, okay, they're gonna get their own like band of 3 people to like.
Because she sings a parody of the Scarecrow song, so I was like, oh, okay, they're gonna meet 2 more people and sing parodies of the Tin Man song and the Lion song.
And they just don't.
And they don't.
It really does feel like there was like half an idea for a script for like the first part, and then they were like, you can't do that.
I think Tuffy is there because they were like, we need someone who can talk to explain this plot as it happens.
I mean, we do have to kind of recognize that this is designed for like 80-year-olds at most.
Yeah, but that's what I think is weird about it. We're going to go straight into, I mean, I have like line-by-line notes, but I don't even know if those will be useful. Interesting. The number one complaint I guess I have with this is it clearly assumes you have seen The Wizard of Oz because it skips so many plot details. It doesn't even show Munchkin Land other than like a summary of it. And like at the end when they re-meet the wizard, they skip him giving them all the award, the fake award, you know, the heart pin and the diploma. They just have it in the next scene without showing you that happening. This plot as a cartoon is so much simpler and pitched at such a lower age. Not that The Wizard of Oz is inappropriate for any age, but it's just like pitched even lower than the age range of The Wizard of Oz. Do you think the audience has seen The Wizard of Oz, or do you think they're too young for it? Like, you need to pick one.
Yeah, because I'm trying to imagine, like, what's my ideal version of this? And I think it's, like, them just, like, off in the background. I feel like, I don't know, the whole plot point of, like, Auntie M forcing them to, like, be nice to each other so they can protect Dorothy is a little bit weird, because I don't understand why they couldn't have just been, like, they're just being mean to each other, and that causes things to happen that either Dorothy now has to deal with that was not in the original stuff, or, like, sets things up to happen.
Right. To be clear for people who have not seen it, the whole driving plot for Tom and Jerry is, like, Auntie M has, like, made them swear to protect Dorothy and be nice to each other in the process. Which, yeah, they could have just still been mean to each other. And they do, like, you can see the, like, bloodlust on Tom's lips every now and then.
Well, he's always like, there's a baby bird in the audience, I must eat.
The main example of this is that the opening of the movie is not in black and white.
Well, it's like
in sepia.
It's a vaguely sepia tone.
But Dorothy's dress is blue, and like there's actual color in it.
Yeah, but like it does brighten a lot when they actually get to Oz.
I was just like, if you can't trust the kids in the audience to have seen The Wizard of Oz and like not turn it off because it's sepia toned, then should you make this at all?
I mean, part of it is you have to think about, okay, this is a way for them to, like, every so often re-up their, like, possession of, like, the IP.
Maybe that's... I mean, The Wizard of Oz, once it gets old enough, is going to be public domain.
I mean Tom and Jerry.
Same with Tom and Jerry. I mean, earlier cartoons will start to fall into the public domain, so who knows? But it's definitely a way to keep it relevant in, like, a relatively low-budget way.
They do skip the Wizard in Kansas scene, like, whenever Dorothy runs away initially.
Which is weird because at the end he says he's a humbug and like quickly relents, and that makes more sense if you've seen him be like a charlatan in real life beforehand. Whereas it's just like, it felt very much they were just like, we have to do this, so let's get to it. And
that scene is easily the most excisable scene in the whole movie. It's kind of a cul-de-sac that doesn't really like play out any way that's relevant.
To go back to it and dwell on it for longer, I don't like the fact that Munchkin Land is not really there anymore. I didn't understand why, other than I guess it's probably the biggest set piece in the movie, and it would have been the toughest to animate a bunch of Munchkins and give them a number.
Well, I honestly thought, like, when it first came out, when Tuffy first came out, there were going to be other Munchkin mice or whatever.
That would have made sense, too, if the Munchkins just were mice. Is that the implication of Tuffy? Yeah.
No, he's just a Munchkin mouse, I think is what they say in the thing. I think
is Tuffy a he?
I think so.
Oh.
I've
played by a she.
So is Timmy Turner. I don't know. Tuffy the mouse is a Munchkin mouse.
But it just seems unlikely that they would have all already disappeared, because I think Dorothy is like 5 minutes farther down the road than them.
When they were like, oh, you're like behind Dorothy, I was like, okay, they're going to play catch up, and there's going to be like other things on the road to kind of have to deal with.
I was surprised that they didn't do any of the like challenges that she faces along the way. They added one because they add turning dandelions into boulders and throwing them at her.
Yeah.
But they didn't do the poppy field or the creepy woods.
And I feel like that's the kind of thing that like you could have like them.
Those feel like
Set
setups
piece.
for slapstick bits.
Yeah.
If you think, like, if you put... I'm not going to come up with them right now, but in
Like-
my head, I think it's possible.
Well, I could see in like terms of like the poppy field where they're all going to sleep. Like I don't know, Tom and Jerry are like fighting back and forth, and they keep falling asleep, but they're kind of in the middle of their attacks. So like they keep waking each other up.
Yeah, that'd be funny. And the trees, I don't know, they could attack each other with the trees, hide behind the trees, throw apples at each other. Who knows?
Despite the fact that like Tom and Jerry is in here, like they matter so little to the plot. Because like the one thing that I did like and is when Tuffy the Mouse is so if you recall in the Wizard of Oz when Dorothy's captured by the witch, she puts the little hourglass that has like red sand in it and upside down and like she'll die if that's over. Tuffy the Mouse, when they go to rescue her, goes into the hourglass and kind of keeps pushing sand up and up. To keep
I thought that was funny.
I thought that was like a clever way of like actually incorporating the characters that you have created into the story in like a.
Like now we have a mouse that's small enough to do this.
So like it makes sense for that to happen.
But I was also kind of like turn the hourglass upside down.
Yeah, but I mean that's always just kind of a plot point, and I'm just going to assume that like it's magic, so like it'll know if it's reset or something.
Yeah. It's a magic hourglass. It'll know if the wrong side is down and just keep working. But if sand gets pushed back up its hole, doesn't know that.
That's like the one thing that I was like, okay, that makes sense for them. Like honestly, I'm like, why is this not Jerry? I understand that like they need talking mouse or whatever. If they had just kept Tom and Jerry with Dorothy, Dorothy could have been Tuffy.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they just felt like they wanted to be more in the world of Tom and Jerry, so they want another mouse or whatever. You know.
Well, in that case...
They want a more 50-50 blend.
Well, it shouldn't be... It should be like a 90-10 blend. And I don't know which direction it should be, but it should be like something like that.
90-10 in favor of The Wizard of Oz, I think, would just be... I should just watch The Wizard of Oz.
That's fair. At least then it's like... Makes more sense. I don't know, it's just like... Early on, they get like set off on the wrong part of the Yellow Brick Road because crows kind of...
I did like that, because I just liked... That was a good way to include those crows. I don't know their names, but they're like classic characters in the animation world.
Yeah. I also like the fact that it's, it's where the Scarecrow is, and of course they can do it now because he's no longer there. What's the point of sending them down a road that's different? I mean, I guess it gets them to where the witch is like about to throw boulders on them.
So some things I liked the crows. I thought the bit with the dandelions and the boulders, they end up stealing the wand from the witch, and there's a scene where they're like all stealing the wand from each other and transforming each other. That felt, it was classic Tom and Jerry stuff, but mixed with something from The Wizard of Oz, like magic and a wand.
Clearly, you've never seen Tom and Jerry and the Magic Ring.
It's true.
I actually don't recall if they transform anything in that movie.
I also thought it was really funny. Well, not okay. You watched it. We were in the same room, and I didn't like guffaw at anything, so I won't say really funny. But when the skywriting that says "Surrender Dorothy" and they pan and it says, "And also Tom and Jerry."
It's one of those things that's just really funny because it's like the acknowledgement that like this is like a somewhat dumb idea that kind of like makes no sense in the context of the original story where you have like 3 additional characters.
Right. And all the characters, like truly all of them, just already know who Tom and Jerry are, including the Wicked Witch. I
mean, she learns their name after the magic fight where they transform each other. I find it funny that like she seems more upset about them than anybody else. Like I feel like she wants to get them more than she wants to get Dorothy.
Yeah, that's true. Dorothy's just also there in this version.
I mean, she's kind of just also there in the movie version too.
Yeah, not all stories are about active protagonists.
I know.
Jerry gets a mace when they all strap up for the final battle, which is something that does not happen in The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I know the resolution is the same. They get the witch wet and she melts, but like...
Third time's the charm of getting water.
They all get armed and ready for battle in this one, and Jerry gets a mace, which I thought was cool. Tom just gets like a pipe.
No, I think Tom has the bat with a nail in it.
Which is a classic.
I mean, they're all classics.
New guard, the new Winky guard. He was fun.
And Droopy, I love him.
Yeah, Droopy is the guard, and he is like, why do we say oh we oh or whatever? And so he consults the handbook, which is like, Winkies get 1 day off every 300 years, and so I thought that was funny.
I just like Droopy. He's good in the Magic Ring too.
And I thought some of the backgrounds of this movie made it look like Pop Tropica.
I'm not that familiar with Pop Tropica, so I can't verify.
It's just like this very clean, digital, clearly not extremely labor intensive or expensive look. Not to like denigrate it. I think it looks fine pretty much throughout the movie.
But it doesn't feel like it's not someone's passion project.
Yeah, it's not the Wizard of Oz 1939 or something, or even to compare with animation, it's not like a Walt Disney Animation Studios original or anything.
Yeah, it's no Snow White.
To me, it made sense when I was like, that's Pop Tropica. Especially the Munchkinland houses. Or even, have you ever played Myst puzzle game?
No.
No, Riven, the sequel.
Riven. The sequel?
Yeah.
No.
There's like, first of all, they're both very good. You should play the modern remakes because they're better. But there's this little village in Riven, and those houses look kind of like the village in Riven.
Well, I'm glad that activated that portion of your brain, Josh.
Real puzzle heads will know what I'm talking about. My final overarching opinion. They follow the plot of The Wizard of Oz, except they miss all the big set pieces, which is a little odd. Up until the wizard is like, go kill the witch and bring back the broom. And then they spend like, I want to say 40% of the runtime trying to get a bucket of water and throw it on the witch.
It's not 40%. It's at most 30%.
But it's too much of it. And I get it because it's like, oh, these two characters trying to like get a bucket of water because they know that the witch needs to get wet. Them trying to get a bucket of water, but they can't keep it. And the water source keeps changing. And they're in a castle. Like, if you're dealing with two slapstick characters, you want to do whatever gives you the most setup, which is probably that sequence. So I get why that is how it went, but it dragged on.
Because you know where it has to end up, and you know where everything else is going, and you can, like, especially if you recognize the film, maybe it's different if you're, like, 6 years old and have never seen The Wizard of Oz, but you, like, know roughly where in the castle, like, or where in the sequence you are, like, you're like, okay, their bucket of water is pointless because it's not time for the witch to get wet yet.
I didn't think that, because I figured they could change it if they had to. Like, she could just get wet and melt slightly earlier.
No, Josh, they're faithful recreationists.
They're not, because this takes so much longer than it does in the movie, in the original.
That's just an effect of, like, having to see a different set of characters, and they're, like...
in more detail.
Yeah.
Even, the movie might take just as long, but the movie itself is longer, so it's less of a percentage of the runtime. And it's just paced less frenetically, because it's not...
A slapstick?
It's not a slapstick kids movie from 2011. So, some of the shots last a few seconds and don't involve getting hit on the head with a hammer. I don't know how useful... Do you have more to say?
I don't think so. It feels like the only other thing that's worth mentioning is that, like, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion are, like, just such nothing, like, entities in this film. Like, there's no reason to like any of them.
They barely have any lines, to the point where when at the end of the movie...
Also, I just thought about this. The part where they're singing in the woods and the king is... the Cowardly Lion's supposed to be, like, the nerve. They don't have that line in there.
True. They just don't have very many lines, to the point where when Tom and Jerry reenact them at the end, it's kind of, why are you doing them when you barely interacted with them? Do you even remember them or know them?
Well, they gave a lot of the Cowardly Lion stuff to Tom, because I guess that makes sense, because he's a cowardly cat.
Yeah. That does make sense. But Jerry doesn't really, he's not brainless. Because Tuffy wants something, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's less effective as a scale of, like, now we're in the Mario and Sonic and at the Olympic Games kind of scale portion.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, I don't know how useful our, classic and perfected rating system is in this scenario, because this was never trying to be faithful.
Well, okay. I think the way we should grade this is, because this is like a crossover, I should think about it in the context of, okay, I'm going to show this to my child. I have the option. I can show them A, The Wizard of Oz. I can show them B, episodes of Tom and Jerry. Or I can show them C, Tom and Jerry and The Wizard of Oz. Which would I rather do?
I would show them in that order. I would prefer to watch The Wizard of Oz.
Well, no. You're thinking about your child, Josh, not.
Okay. I would prefer my child watch The Wizard of Oz. I don't know. Maybe it would go for me, The Wizard of Oz, Tom and Jerry meet The Wizard of Oz, and then Tom and Jerry.
Oh, so we're getting less and less Wizard of Oz as we go on. Be like,
yeah, because The Wizard of Oz has at least some moral values. Not to be like all children's media should be, what do you call it? Pedantic? Didactic. Because I watched Tom and Jerry, and I think it's fine. I don't know. Okay, I guess my real answer is if a kid's going to watch it, it all seems equal in watchability for a kid to me. But that doesn't mean I think it's all equally good.
I just think I'd rather spend the more time to watch all of the Wizard of Oz and all episodes of Tom and Jerry before I'd rather sit down
all episodes.
than rather than sit down and watch 50 minutes of Wizard of Oz and Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, I think this really, the target that this would be perfect for is like a kid who's in like a Wizard of Oz phase, you know, where they just want more Wizard of Oz stuff.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
And you've already shown them like the Wiz and everything, and you're like,
well, all the stuff that would possibly be appropriate and not too scary for them. I don't think you have to exhaust all existing Wizard of Oz content before you would consider this one.
I don't know, Josh.
It was not that bad.
Yeah, but it's nothing, Josh. It's not good.
It is nothing. It's like I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, could this? And I don't like to be in this mode, but I also thought this about the first Star Wars novelization. Like, could this have ever been art? Like, was that ever in the cards?
I mean,
like it's a direct to DVD like corporate slop. Like,
can you imagine if this movie was made now and they had used like AI to do it?
I mean, and that's part. I feel like AI has made me nicer because I'm like, at least humans made this, and probably some of them wanted it to be good.
I guess,
but
do you think they'll do a Tom and Jerry and Wicked?
No, that's a different studio.
I know, but
yeah, I think. I mean, it's not literally. It is nothing because it's like the clear broth of watching experiences. Like,
I think broth is too generous, Josh.
My mood was not soured by having it on. It was not improved. It was just regulated.
It's like unflavored Jell-O.
Yeah, I just felt like the slapstick bits, they just didn't like land with punchlines correctly.
Yeah,
and maybe I'm just too old for them. But
we should go watch an episode of Tom and Jerry and see if that still hits.
And I feel like those probably vary a lot in quality too. But
that's probably true.
So
we'll have to watch the Tom and Jerry and Willy Wonka to see if it's like maybe this was just the bad version of the adaptation.
Yeah, that's actually the one I knew about first. I'm also interested in the Muppets Wizard of Oz. I feel like that's got to be at least better than this one, even though it's not one of the more acclaimed Muppet movies.
You put Kermit in anything and you're like, that's good.
Yeah. Well, me personally, I do.
I'm speaking for you, Josh.
I think we're trying to keep these short because, frankly, there's just not that much to say about them.
Yeah, and can you imagine an hour of talking about the Wizard of Oz and Tom and Jerry?
Yeah, nobody wants that.
That's longer than the actual film.
That's true. So, any closing thoughts from you?
There should have been a funny evil witch cat to go along to be Tom's evil foil.
That could have been good. I think I've said all mine. If you are listening to this, rate our episode on Spotify or Apple or wherever you're watching. Subscribe. Our email is adaptivedifficultypod@gmail.com. If you know of some weird adaptation of something we've already covered and this episode is making you think about it, email us and we will try to get to it.
Because that's really what this sequence, this new Pod Plus is about, is the weird shit.
Yeah. Anything we can watch and consume in less than 2 hours, bring it right here. And we will...
How far along do you think we have to get before we start being like, okay, this is a Willy Wonka cookie? Can we turn that into an episode?
You know, human ingenuity is so limitless. Well, thank you to everyone who made the Tom and Jerry Meet the Wizard of Oz, which I don't think is the name of the movie.
It's Tom and Jerry and the Wizard of Oz.
Thank you to everyone who made Tom and Jerry and the Wizard of Oz, making the world a little bit more artful, and we will see you next time.
All right.